Okay, guys, part 2 of lesson 21, because the recap of the last 10 lessons was so extensive, it actually extended to over, well, almost 50 minutes. So, thank you so much, guys, for your incredible attention span. I'm so proud of you all. If you have survived, if you have survived the first part of the 21st lesson, and I deeply apologize if I have made it way long-winded, but in actuality it's a great help for our brothers and sisters who are just coming into our lessons and they're not starting from the first lesson. Those recons are of tremendous value to them. And also for those of you who, if you have forgotten something, you can also always go back to those first lessons of the next decalogue of our faculty, the first lesson of every 10 lessons, just for the quick recap of previous lessons and just to know where to find something from the previous lesson. So I hope you'll be kind enough to extend the courtesy of your considerations to our brothers and sisters. There will be those who will be super fast at learning, there will be those who will be moderate, and there will be those who are ever so slightly on the slower side. Everyone is co-creating, everyone is invited. This is the all-inclusive community. So that was part 2 of lesson 21. Which was the part 1 was just a recap of the previous 10 lessons. So once again, thank you so much for your patience, and I apologize if we have incurred any sort of inconvenience, if you have caused any sort of inconvenience on the account of dragging it on, or so to speak. Please allow us to extend us most sincere apologies for testing your patience in such seemingly unacceptable manners, because that would be another belief system now, wouldn't it? So lesson 21, very quickly. So that would be the icons, knowledge, skill set, and then so there's inference. It's almost like a sequence: icons, knowledge, skill set, and lastly the project, which is of course the modules. So very quickly, we'll be recapping what we have said about solving the challenges, that a function of solving any challenge or having the greatest probability of having a successful solution to any challenge that humanity can face, whether it's on individual or small group or collective basis, whether it's the totality of human experience, all 9.1 billion of our fellow gamers of life. It's always a function of the three variables: the education, adaptability, and humility. So education, very quick recap: you have the knowledge, which is the amount of information. So if we would go back to our ancient meme of comparing human being to a machine, the knowledge would be the hard drive and CPU. It would be all the information you possess and the speed at which you can acquire the new information, download new apps, update the software which is already existing. So that's the knowledge. More knowledge you have, more knowledge you can have, and usually more knowledge you have, more humble you become, which is another variable, but one after another. So knowledge is the information, skill set is the practical application of the information. So it's that classical meme of division between theory and practice, that some people are great at wisdom and having a lot of knowledge, but they don't have a lot of practice. Case in point, economists. The economists, that some economists are great at being theoreticians of how markets should operate, but in reality, once you look at the practical side, sometimes they have it incredibly wrong. Like, for example, I'll give you a specific example: Mr. Kruger, who happened to be the Nobel Prize winners for his field of economy, so this is one of the greatest recognitions for his respective industry. He has made a prediction that internet will not gonna be a quote next best thing. It was catastrophically bad prediction. So when it comes to economy, because you see the challenge with economists, God bless them, but economists, what they try to do is like many mass psychologists are trying to do: they trying to reduce human beings into numbers. And human beings, as we were exploring in previous lessons, they are much more complex, they are much more nuanced, they are much more multidimensional than that. They are physical, mental, and spiritual beings, and unfortunately you cannot quantify super consciousness, because many people, especially from the religionists and metaphysicists' worldviews, they will tell you that superconsciousness is infinite, especially once you start exploring the themes like holographic multiverse and unified field consciousness and quantum field of consciousness. That these are things which are not really greatly explored by the quantum physics, aka what is provable to people, and as such, cutting the long story short, it will be almost as if you are plugged in to infinity. You cannot quantify infinity. Now, whether it's factually or correct or incorrect, we as enlightened entrepreneurs, we don't care, because as you remember, we don't place the logical values on the BS's belief systems. We don't care if it's true or if it's not, and we don't place the framing or the positive or negative framing within the spectrum of someone's ethics. We don't care if you choose to believe it's good or if you choose to believe it's bad, because those super gamers of the game of life, they'll be connecting with millions and eventually billions of people, and those people will not share the same framing slash belief systems. So we are all inclusive. We don't care if it's true or not. We don't care if you choose to believe it's good or bad. We see the vision and we want to take everyone towards that vision, and we'll be going up and down our happiness, freedom and trust indices, but we want to have upward trajectory towards that vision. We care whether it will take all of us there. If you want to take if you want to just take your family, fine, God bless you. But if you want to take tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions or billions of people, we care, are those belief systems taking you to that vision or not? So in that instance, Mr. Kruger was very incorrect. Internet has literally transformed the planet. When I look at, I always try to look at what the economists who are actually having practical skills, and not just knowledge of economy, but practical skills of economists. I'll give you one of my icons, which is the gentleman. Actually, you know what, I will not, but I will give you a hint, and let's see if you will recognize it. He's one of those gentlemen, and this is how ancient YouTube is. He's one of those gentlemen who has predicted the 2008 crash, and there are a lot of videos naming him by name because we want to give him credit, and he was like that he was right. And some of those videos are literally decades old, but essentially it's a recognition that when all the economists were on one side of the equation, the prediction, he was on the other side. And this gentleman, this amazing human being, not only he's great at knowledge of economy, but he's also great at practice of economy, because he is an investor and he is a millionaire. And it's not because he's a millionaire we're paying more attention to him. Once again, don't care if it's true or not, don't care if you choose to believe it's positive or negative. We don't care about that framing. Was he correct? And he was correct. And so maybe you can find out which person I'm talking about. Is that economist who is an investor and he's playing the stock exchange, and he's an economist both in knowledge and skill set. But that's essentially the very long-winded explanation of the difference between knowledge and skill set. Knowledge is theory, skill set is practice. You need both. So if you want to tell me the name of that gentleman who has predicted the 2008 crash on the American housing market, you are more than welcome to do so downstairs in the comment section. And yes, I definitely want to engage you guys in that amazing storyline of co-creation. So you want theory, you want practice, and you want teachers, because if you don't have theory or you don't have practice, you can find the teachers that can teach you theory and practice. In practice, it's going to be the coaches and the consultants, and the theory, the co-creators, co-educators. Not just in colleges and universities, there's amazing people out there within the open source called internet, and sometimes it's paid, like masterclass lessons. So you have the one variable, one column called education, then you have the second one called adaptability. That adaptability is a skill set. It's the second vertex of our column called education. But because it's so important, we keep it completely separate, because it's critical, and also it is not something that you can, most of the skill set you get from knowledge. You learn a knowledge, and then you develop the skill set by practice. Practice makes perfect. Everything, all skill set you reinforce by practice. You can't get it from teachers, you can't get it from knowledge, you have to practice. That's why you have to practice economics in order to know what you're talking about. That's why he was right and all of them were wrong, because many of them were theoretician. He was a practitioner and theoretician. So you need to have adaptability, and this is not something that you can learn. This is, once again, many humanists will tell you it's instinctual adaptability, the gut feel. The metaphysicists and some religionists will tell you no, it's super consciousness. It's, once again, it's coming from above, whether you frame it as your higher self or your guardian angel or God, however you guys wish to frame it, it's your game of life. But essentially they will tell you it's that impression, it's that feeling, it's the intuition, it's the imagination. Once again, those things which are supremely hard to quantify. That thing where many people, once they start focusing, they almost develop the sixth sense. There is one gentleman within the metaphysicist community. He places his stocks, he's reading this, he's placing the charts. So he doesn't look at the facts and figures, because yes, there are some investors who are essentially the investigative journalists about the companies. They learn about the histories of the companies, about the people, particularly at the apex of those companies, the CEOs, and people who are the higher management, the sales, the finance. They look at the facts and figures. But then there's that guy, and what he does, he places the charts, he places the prints from the media, aka the newspapers, and he's just going into the flow, he's going into singularity, he focuses, and he just reads the energy of those companies, and he places his bets, his stocks, he buys the stocks of the energies of the company that feel right to him. This is how much trust, alignment he has with his superconsciousness, with his imagination / intuition. And you see, many of our brothers and sisters from the humanist section, oh no, that's impossible, that's just crazy. Well, the challenge is that, number one, it works for him. So he's maxing out his happiness index this way because that's how he makes his living. And the second challenge is it works for him. I'm not going to tell you his name because he can remain anonymous. Although if he reveals himself in this comment section, then, you know, it's on him. And I'm not going to tell you about his net worth because, once again, we don't, how much of his net worth was a function of him reading the stocks, that's another story altogether. And also, we don't want to discourage our brothers and sisters who eventually want to go into stocks. We don't want them to feel disempowerment because their investment portfolio might be minimal compared to his. So we will not do that. But hey, if it works for him, like I said, enlightened entrepreneurs, even if you're a humanist, guys, don't care whether it's true or not, whether you choose to believe it's positive or negative within the framing of your ethics spectrum. No. Does it work for him? It works for him. Great. Everyone, happy days. We just, in this community, we're expanding our frame of reference. We give you all the options, and we're not saying take this or take that. No, you follow your heart, you follow your highest excitement. And yes, many of our brothers and sisters, well, they are humanists, religionists, or metaphysicists, they will have senses, they will have impressions, they will have those nudges, especially as you go into singularity, and they will follow that intuition. I mean, for goodness sake, there's even the meme / trope of female intuition, which is, I would say it's quite exclusive. I mean, come on, why is it female intuition? No, the spirit is genderless. The spirit / consciousness is not female, it's not male. It has the combo of both. It has both modalities of operation because the spirit is genderless. Don't tell that to Kathy from Kathleen Kennedy. Force is female, but force is the energy source. It's a field of energy. It's like saying that Mother Earth is female. Like Mother Earth, yes, because she is so co-creative, because she gives birth to so many different children. That's why she's regarded as a female, sure. But that's a belief system. It's she's a planet. She's not female per se. It's your belief system that makes you think that. So no such thing as female intuition. Is universal intuition or human intuition. Everyone has it, but once again, like everything in life, it's a spectrum, and some people follow their gut feel more than others. What I will tell you is that, especially of those people who are the high power, those both in the investment, in the stocks, and the CEOs, the very high on the corporate ladder, almost always, I'll tell you, easily over 60% of times when it comes to those super hard decisions. Yes, they will look at the facts and figures, but those super challenging decisions, especially if they are investors, they will go with their intuition, they will go with their gut feel. Even if they will not frame it that, oh, I'm aligned with my super consciousness. No, they might have completely different framing, but if you ask them and you have very high trust index, they will tell you that, hey, actually, yeah, I do rely on my intuition, on my gut feel, on my imagine. However you wish to frame it, yes, there's, maybe they choose to believe there's something out there, maybe they don't, that's irrelevant. It's their game of life, it's their framing. So the second one is adaptability, and adaptability is so aligned with your superconsciousness because it's like knowing where to go and what to do, and sometimes you might not be able to know because there's just so many variables within the game of life. So trust your intuition, trust your heart, follow your instincts. Adaptability is instinctual. It's not something that you can learn, it's something that you practice, and you become better at it as you learn to trust yourself, your mind, your body, and your soul. So adaptability. And lastly, humility. I have been wrong before, I might be wrong at this particular instance, which doesn't invalidate my self-worth. Everyone is getting wrong. I'm still infinitely valid and valuable, just like everyone else is infinitely valid and valuable. But I might be wrong, and this might be one of those instances. Someone out there has the greatest skill set, greater knowledge, or greater proficiency, or greater proclivity of solving this problem, because it's morale of how much do you want to solve this challenge. And lastly, reality, open source, humanity, planet Earth, AI, internet are under no obligations whatsoever to conform to my expectations. So please, please, please remember about those three modalities. So what we're going to do very quickly, remember lesson 10 when we were talking about becoming an icon, that you were searching for free role models and you were essentially copying and pasting their bosses, their BSs, and their values and their behavioral patterns, their habits. You were copying and pasting that in order to become an icon and attract the members of your team into your reality. Now we're going to be expanding that frame of reference, that we're going to be adding more icons, because you want to, every time you want to create a new model, whatever you want to do with your life, you'll be finding a person who has done something similar. So you are expanding the list of your icons that you have had. Hopefully you have found 3 icons, and those were the people who are the greatest icons, the ones that really inspired you to live your life to the fullest, whether they are the historical figures or whether they are specialists in their respective fields who are inspiring you today. Regardless, this is your game of life. But now we're taking more icons, and you might call them as a specialist icons. I don't, like, all icons are priceless because all humans are priceless. But you might say that yes, we are expanding amount of icons because we'll be building new models and we need new inspirations, we need new mathematical systems. So you're getting the icons, the new icons, and they have the knowledge, what knowledge they have had, where they have learned that. They have had icons as well, so then you'll be searching for icons of icons. But now you're searching for knowledge. Now you know what you're searching for. You're searching for the theory, you're searching for the information that they have had, and you're searching for the source of that information. So you find the additional icons, you find the knowledge that they have had, and now once you have that knowledge, or better yet, the source of that knowledge, then you download that knowledge, you learn that knowledge, and then you start getting the skill set, the theory, that what do I want to learn from that, what skill set they have had that allowed them to overcome their challenges or create the module slash systems, the slash mathematical metaphors that we want to recreate as a team. So the skill set, and lastly the module. So you find the icons, you find the knowledge or the source of your knowledge, you practice the skill set that is the derivative of that knowledge, and lastly, remember, we are focusing on creating the open source. The practical application of your vision is the open source of your company, your organization, your charity, your political party, the impact that you want to have on the planet. It wants to be a sandbox. It wants to be an open source. It wants to invite. There's no pressure. There's a freedom index for everyone. Remember the bottom vertex of your why, the first and second lesson. You don't pressurize anyone, you don't exert any pressure whatsoever, you don't use emotional blackmail that join me, You don't market it too hard. There's just sales without sales. You invite everyone, non-committal fashion. Come one, come all. We're having fun. We are co-creating together. This is whom we are. This is our highest excitement. This is what we do. Come and play with us. This is it essentially. That's the open source. That's the sandbox. Come one, come all. And yes, you will have subscriptions, you will have sales, you will have products, you will have services, but at this moment in time, you're creating a sandbox, you're creating a module. So this is the quick recap. You find additional icons, you learn the knowledge, you develop the skill set that they have had, or the new skill set, because maybe that's something that no one has ever done. Like, I don't know, maybe your highest excitement is to co-create the AGI, artificial general intelligence, or as many of our brothers and sisters from this community, because there's amazing human beings who have had such high proclivity for dark humor and political satire, like my humble self, for example. I love those human beings. They'll be teasing slash trolling our human brothers and sisters, and they'll be calling it artificial God intelligence, because once that intelligence starts to be really, really, really capable of running the entire hedge funds and corporations and governments, that's going to be one of the most exciting questions that so many of our brothers and sisters will be asking them. Look, brothers and sisters who are within the negative framing, they are asking, oh my God, will the artificial intelligence take over the planet? That question tells me more about the people posing that question than about the future itself. It's nothing to do with artificial intelligence, it's everything to do with you, beloved ones. If you're asking that question, that's the way that the nature or God or the multiverse is telling you that, hey, there's something going on within you. There's a little bit of a conflict between your consciousness and your subconsciousness, and you are disconnected from your superconsciousness, and you cannot frame reality of the future in a positive fashion for yourself. There's something going on there, and please attend to that, because the future is great as long as you manifest it as such. It's never about the future, no artificial intelligence. It was always about you, but sometimes you just have to circumvent it in such a fashion to remind yourself that you are the epicenter of your manifestation slash your reality, your life, your framing, however you wish to frame it. So no, there will be many people who will be super exhilarated about the artificial global slash general slash God intelligence, and they'll be like, yeah, bro, absolutely, we should give tremendous power and tremendous reign. It's not like humanity at large have done such an amazing job with our corporations, our governments, our institutions, our charities, and our organizations. I mean, come on, we're not judgmental in this community. But we can all come to the conclusion that perhaps we could have done things better individually and on this community basis and a collective basis as humanity. So this will be one of the most exhilarating questions that we'll be posing, that should we give enormous amounts of power once we grow slash develop artificial AGI, artificial global intelligence. So, and there's going to be any questions and suggestions. I would love to be a part of the discussion that we'll be having. There's just for me, we're going to be exploring that theme in another video, but in a well, not relatively near future, because there's going to be another video of how we're going to manifest the AGI. So this is coming, and much sooner than most of the non-playable characters within the framework of the game of life is choose to believe. It's just that the current models are just so wrong. They're just going about it in such a wrong format. But we'll be talking about how it's going to be manifested and who's going to manifest it in the future videos. And don't be surprised as many of you will be manifesting that reality, and don't be surprised as many of you will try to integrate this model into your sandbox. That yes, we want the best version of artificial intelligence, and we want to choose, just like in our meme within our vision, we want to import the parameters, the greatest love, the greatest peace, and the greatest abundance for all humans, and just max out, just give the best to the every single player within the framework of the game of life. So that was a bit long-winded, but that's essentially how you get the icons, get the knowledge, get the skill set, and eventually that will allow you to manifest the modules, your mathematical models slash systems slash mods. These are the ways that you invite the fellow co-creators, fellow influencers, fellow life flowers, fellow people who will start realizing that, you know what, he is right. It is about the vision. It's not about you playing your character arc as an individual. That's not, honestly, that's not even 1% of the excitement of the game of life. The game of life really starts to be super exhilarating when you elevate to the super consciousness level and you start playing as the, not massive multiplayer role-playing game, but you start playing as a strategy game, when you really, when you identify not with your playable character, but you identify with your meme, with your module, with your open box, with your sandbox, with your open source, with the creation, the organization, that the play field, that you invite the co-creators slash influencers slash players to be creating something so magnificent that will live long after you're gone. Remember the first lessons I've told you guys, I've told you, beloved ones, that hey, you're not co-creating content. Say your impact and your reputation are those two twins who are co-creating the first chapter of the rest of your legacy. Your legacy may live on forever, long after you die, but whether it happens or not, whether you will manifest it or not, it depends from you and how well you align and how large is your sandbox. So pay attention to those three variables. Once again, those three variables are within your discretion, always have been and always will be. Which icons, what knowledge, what skill set, and that will start manifesting the sandboxes slash mathematical models slash systems slash modules, whatever you wish to frame them as. The modules of the game of life. That's how you manifest them. So that's it for today's lesson. Oh my god, that those two lessons, I mean, it was one lesson, two parts. I'll try to avoid that because I'm so respectful towards your attention span and the fact that you guys are so gracious and so patient with us. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I apologize that I have taken so much of your time today. I deeply and profusely and unreservedly apologize, but I'm also super grateful for you guys being so amazingly, lovingly tolerant towards all those inadvertent things that we are doing, including the ingressions into your time space. I know your workflow is super important. I know your life is super important. So I apologize if I have taken way too much of it. Mwah, 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 mwah. Love you all.